Hey everybody, how you doing? Welcome to another live stream episode. Hey! Yeah, it's good to be live again for all the people watching the recording. I'm just gonna start in one or few minutes with another Q&A session and community tech talk. Yeah, hope you're ready. I mean, I haven't really prepared a new topic for this week. I thought, which topic could I come up with? And honestly, I had no idea. So I just thought, let's do a random Q&A and let's see how it goes. I just need to check a couple of settings here. So see if the chat is working and so on. Hey, Tony Kirkland. Hey, friend. Hey, man. And DB, Tag, was ist los? What's going on, right? Keith Hill, hey, how you doing, man? Great to see everybody again. And Crazy Wolf, hi. Hey, how you doing? Yeah, what's up? Not much, actually, to be honest. I just thought let's do another Q&A session and talk about some topics. I mean, I'm a bit early. So went like 1 or 2 minutes live early, but I think you're probably not going to complain about it, so that's gonna be fine. And yeah, so what can we discuss today? I hope you have a lot of questions for me in the chat. So if you want to know something, just put it in the chat down below. I'm gonna try to answer to all of the questions. And yeah, let's see what you can come up with. Hallöchen und Grüße aus Thailand. Hey, super, Corin. Wow, you're in Thailand? Wow, that's cool. I heard it's gonna be nice there. A lot of German tourists are in Thailand, by the way, so I don't really know. If you're one of them, I don't know. But hey, no offense here. It's gonna be cool. I always get a lot of like response from people all over the world. This is so amazing. It's so cool. Lord Fullstack, what a great name, by the way. Let's talk about Dockerfile versus dev container. Well, I have no idea what you mean, but you can enlighten me. What exactly is your question there, man? Yeah, let's take a few minutes. Hey guys, wait a bit with your technical questions. So let's take it easy. Let's take it slowly. We're getting there. So don't worry, I'm just gonna be, a bit. I try to relax a bit in the beginning, and then I'm going to answer to a lot of technical questions here. And yeah, don't forget to give this live stream a like. So it's gonna push it to YouTube, obviously. And yeah. By the way, for all of the people on YouTube, I'm currently trying to do like a simultaneous live stream on YouTube and TikTok as well. I don't really know how that goes, but hey, we will see how that's going. But I'm probably going to react to maybe a couple of questions from other platforms. Then don't feel irritated about it. Yeah, that's. I'm going to have to pay attention to 2 chats right now, which is a bit distracting. But hey, I just wanted to try it out here. So that's it about social media, right? Early? Who cares? Yeah, better early than late. Actually, that's what I would say. I'm Indonesian and I'm in Indonesia. Hey, cool. That's amazing. Yeah. Big fan of what you show, very educational and helpful when messing around with DevOps from ShoeHub. Hey, thanks man, I'm glad you liked the videos. That's gonna be cool. Discussion here and there, a lot of technical questions. I'm getting there soon, don't worry. I'll just go through some of the other stuff. I'm a digital nomad who is not traveling anymore. Ah, really? Okay, so you're living like for the rest of your life there? Cool. Hey, from Santa Fe, Argentina. Wow, cool. That's crazy. So many countries here. Christoph, hey, how you doing? Technical questions. We're all here to say that WAP sucks, right? Oh, please don't get me started with that. I knew it was coming up in the live stream. But I wasn't expecting it from you, man. You should be nice to me, man. Oh my gosh. No, I'm not. Well, we can discuss that topic. Honestly, I've prepared myself a little for this discussion. But yeah, I don't feel ready right now. So let's start easy, right? And then get into the more difficult questions later in the live stream, okay? Jack, do you use Notion for your own documentation and workflows? Yes, I actually do. I'm gonna make a video about it at some point because I know I've used other tools in the past where I also made videos about, but currently I'm very excited about Notion, to be honest. And at some point I'm gonna make a comparison video and show you some of the processes and how exactly I'm using this tool and what do I think about it and so on. But I want to give it a bit more. Well, I wanted to record a video about it the other days, but then I thought, well, I need to go back to the drawing board and actually find out a reason to make this video, because if it's just me randomly talking about the tools that I'm using, so what's the point of the video then, right? So I need to find a good angle to be somewhat educational in this video, even if it's about myself and my tools that I'm using. I thought it should at least have some form of value for the people. So instead of just making a boring, hey, I'm using Notion because of this and that video, I should actually make it a bit more technical and go into some more details here. So, but there is a video that I'm preparing at some point. I really don't know when, but it's definitely coming in the next weeks somehow. Yeah, we will see. Okay, guys, so let's start with the Q&A session. Let's go to some of the technical and also other questions. I mean, feel free to put any question in the chat. Those comments are just to me, those comments are just so pointless. Yeah, Christoph, yeah. Honestly, to me either, but I think there's actually more to this. I really thought a lot about this discussion about the warp terminal and some of the comments that I got, and you probably know I responded to it in a community post, and I got a lot of pushback there again. And it feels to me like, well, maybe I have to address this at some point in the future, but probably not in form of, hey, I'm upset about I got so many negative comments. That's not really the point, right? So it's all good on my side. To the whole warp topic, I don't really, well, honestly, I was a bit frustrated to get so many negative comments, but I'm just a human being, right? So, sure, of course I feel like upset about it. But it's all good. It's not that I'm about to get into a fight or into a discussion with other people about it, because ultimately I think, I mean, everybody should decide on their own, so what software, what application they're going to use. But there is certainly a point where we can talk about. And yeah, I know I'm already getting into the discussion what I wanted to avoid, but well, what can I say about this? There will be a video in the future about warp terminal again, and I'm going to compare it to another one. And I'm just gonna take some time, go back to the drawing board, find out what's the best way to present it in a video that actually helps people to make a decision on their own, and make it a good comparison video. And yeah, then let's do it, right? Why not? I'm open to it. And I'm going to address some of the concerns people have and tell you my honest opinion. And if you don't like my opinion, well, I feel free to watch other videos, but I think I should probably address some of the reasons for making decisions and why I'm making decisions, and not blame anyone for having a different opinion on a topic, right? I mean, everybody has a different opinion on something, but it seems like it probably seemed in the video that I wasn't aware of some of those problems, but I am very well aware of those. I just haven't addressed them correctly, and I haven't really explained what were the reasons behind my decision. And I think this actually should have be a small section in the video. I'm going to do it again with the next VideoBot terminal application, so it's definitely going to be part of it. And I hope that's gonna give a bit more insight into what were the reasons behind my decision, why I'm choosing this application over another application, and so on. And ultimately, it's gonna be like a better video in the end. So these are my thoughts about it right now. But hey, who knows? Okay, guys. So I'm going to scroll up a bit to answer some of the questions. So let's go. From Hannes. Hey Christian, I have a question about Docker NFS volumes. Do you also run databases on NFS volumes, or is that not advisable? I also had trouble running Nextcloud with an NFS volume. Locally it works. Yeah, that's a question that comes up a lot. And I think Christoph probably needs to jump in to actually educate me when it comes to databases in NFS volumes. But I was under the impression that a lot of people on the internet say that databases over NFS is not a good idea. But I haven't really found any technical documentation or any evidence of why this is the case. The only thing that I found after my long research about it was that there are some older NFS protocols that had problems with that kind of like the read and write operations. However, there is like most of these issues are already addressed in NFS version 4.1. And I couldn't find any technical evidence of NFS 4.1 is having problems with databases. Maybe this is the case, but actually, I never found any proof of that. So to me, I'm currently not running databases over NFS. I'm just running some Docker volumes over NFS, and I never had any issues with that. I think I'm even running an SQLite database over NFS. I'm not running any MySQL or Postgres, but so far I never had any issues with that. So for me personally, it just works totally fine to run Docker volumes over NFS. So that's what I'm saying. But I haven't really extensively tested databases, and of course my use cases are a bit smaller. I'm not really like running big databases or big servers across those NFS volumes. Obviously, these are also limited to the network performance. But I think for most of the use cases, it should be fine. So I haven't had any issues. You should be fine with NFS v4 and proper log management. Thanks, Christoph. Yeah, that basically is, yeah. So you're basically like saying the same like I do, right? And I don't really know why there are so many people saying like NFS is bad for this and this and that. And maybe it's because like there is so much outdated information about older NFS versions and older NFS protocols out there. That might be the case, but well, I never had any issues with it. And if it would be a bigger problem, honestly, it would come up much more often, right? It's similar to ECC memory and ZFS, right? If it would be a big problem, it would come up like in every discussion in a forum or something like that. Or people were constantly having issues with that. You would see so many forum posts about it, but that is not really the case. The case that you barely can find anything is for me an indication of, well, there might be some rare edge cases where it could have issues, but it's undoubtedly not the regular problem that everyone is facing. Otherwise, you would see like tons and tons of forum posts about it. But as this is not the case, well, it's the same with ECC, ZFS, and NFS over Docker volumes and databases over NFS. Like always, people are always saying like, hey, you should avoid this, you should avoid that. But if you're asking them, so why? Can you technically explain it to me? Nobody has an answer. So everybody just said like, oh, it's gonna be, you know, best practice documentation around for decades. Yeah, sure, but no one has actually tried to replicate such an issue again. So, well, that isn't really convincing. So, yeah, that's my thought about it. Long speech, no, I don't know. Oh, you say in German, you say lange Rede, kurzer Sinn. I don't know how is that an idiom you say in English? I don't really know. Who cares? Okay. Great. I'm just gonna read some other questions here. So, should I work in dev container or should I work using Dockerfile? Well, really, I've no idea what you're talking about, so maybe other people have, but honestly, I don't. I'm sorry. So, for everything that I've used in Docker, I have always been fine with creating a Docker file, building a container, testing it. But I'm not a software developer, I just have to say this. So maybe a software developer would say something different about it, but that's not really my main profession, man. I'm sorry. Okay, so Crazy Wolf, hey Christian, what could you recommend? I run a pfSense secondary subnet inside my normal private network, so how would you lay out firewall rules? There are 5 Proxmox hosts. Greeting from Switzerland. Well, that's a good question. I mean, you probably would have to know more about the network itself and what is your goal. And what I can say about firewall rules is, and it's like a very, very high level general security advice, is always start with like deny everything and then just create firewall rules for the stuff that does not work. That's how I do it. So I usually deny everything in the network, and then I'm trying to figure out, okay, so what do I actually need and what do I need it for, right? So for example, you need a firewall rule that allows traffic, web traffic to outside of your network. So then you're creating a firewall rule just for that, right? The same goes on and on for every network, for every device, for every service. You should never really start the other way around. I've seen that multiple times in IT, and always people are making this mistake, is they start with an any rule, so that basically allows everything in a network, and then they are trying to block certain things. So this is the absolutely wrong approach. So you have to think it the other way around, right? You need to deny everything, block everything, and then you are trying to run your business applications and you figure out, okay, so this is not working, so maybe I need a firewall rule to allow this kind of traffic. But never look at it from the other way around. That's going to get you into security problems, definitely. All right, so people are already solving that problem in chat, like dev containers is a predefined Docker file you can use in VS Code. Ah, all right. Well, thanks for enlightening me. So that's like the reason I'm never really creating many containers. I just occasionally do that myself. Okay, cool. So, wow, I need to keep up with the chat. I'm so sorry. So it could probably take some time until I come to your questions, so don't worry, I'll go through all of this, but it might take some time. Hi Christian from London, love your videos. Thanks, Margaret. Thanks, that's amazing. Glad you like the videos. Do you see a viability for Docker Swarm for your home lab, or should I just run Kubernetes? Thinking about running some services in HA. Bought some mini PCs. Greetings from Belgium, by the way. Thanks. Greetings from Germany, man. So, honestly, I never really, and I think this comes up from time to time in the chat as well, as Docker Swarm or Kubernetes. Honestly, I don't see a lot of reasons why I should run Kubernetes, why I should run Docker Swarm in my home lab, because I'm already running Kubernetes and I'm fine with it. And Kubernetes apparently has many more features than Docker Swarm. So to me personally, this is not really it's not interesting to look at Docker Swarm from a use case or from a technical perspective. So maybe there is a reason for it in terms of like getting to know the technology and learning about it, but that's it, right? There's no real use case for running Docker Swarm, at least not right now. The only thing that I have to say about it is that Kubernetes is a lot harder to learn. For me, it actually is. But hey, I love challenges, so I'm totally fine with it. And most of the stuff that I run in production, I try to run in Kubernetes. Not everything, but yeah, most of this stuff I do. I think keeping up with a million nodes and to-dos is a hassle, so a Notion video would be useful and inspirational to get some ideas. Yeah, absolutely. So I try to make it in form of a like HomeLab project management approach and how I'm managing my projects in Notion, or my technical documentation, something like that. That might be an interesting angle, definitely. Tips to fight procrastination. What? Well, I don't know. Just try to get shit done, right? That's what I'm saying. That's always my approach. My approach is very simple. I don't think so much about productivity and workflow management. I just try to get some shit done. And that's it, right? That's the best strategy to fight procrastination, honestly. Hello, what do you think about using Raspberry Pi 4 devices as K3s cluster in HomeLab? Also, what do you think is better to use, SD card or SSD disk connected to USB 3? That's actually a good question. I don't think it's... Yeah, well, honestly, I don't have much experience with SD cards in Raspberry Pi. I just know that you should pick like high-quality SD cards and not buy cheap ones, because cheap ones are getting damaged a lot faster. So I would say like SD cards, get them from a respectable brand, and then I would do that. I would not connect SSD disks over USB 3 to a Raspberry Pi to store data. I would always try to store the data for the Raspberry Pi or the Kubernetes cluster outside of the devices themselves. So again, here we are, again at NFS discussion. This is, in my opinion, like the best way to run a Kubernetes cluster based on Raspberry Pi. Just use an NFS store where you store the data, and don't store important data on the Raspberry Pis itself. So really just use the SD cards for running the OS and the configuration, and make sure that you automate everything so you can easily replicate everything if like the Raspberry Pi dies. Or like in a Kubernetes cluster, you need minimum of 3 nodes probably. I mean, you probably don't if you're using the right configuration. You can run it with like 2 nodes. I would probably avoid running etcd on those Raspberry Pis though. So that would be... I haven't really tried it. Maybe I do in the future, but that's how I would do it. I would connect them to a MySQL database that manages the Kubernetes control plane. And I would not run etcd on those Raspberry Pis, especially when it's using SD cards. I don't know, it might be possible, but you could get yourself into trouble with that approach. I mean, it could work, but, well, what can I say? So if I would do it, I would probably do it this way. Install K3s. Maybe you could even think about like running the worker nodes on the Raspberry Pis and run the control plane on a small virtual machine or something like that. I mean, that could be an interesting approach, though. I have to think about it. But yeah, interesting project, by the way. Please, VMware exit. What would you choose as an alternative HomeLab? Well, there's just gonna be one answer to this question, which is Proxmox. So Proxmox all the way. One question. I want to migrate from Microsoft AD to Bind 9. Suggestions. Whoa, what? Okay, so that's kind of a difficult question. I mean, it's like Microsoft Active Directory and Bind 9 have completely different like use cases. It's like one is an Active Directory, the other one is a DNS server. So I don't know if that's making sense a lot. I've doped for suppose I want to set up a web server from a website I have to host on internet, but should be busy at what? I'm so sorry. Yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm just trying to pronounce that name, and I'm worried I'm pronouncing it wrong. Ahmed. I don't know what you mean with this question. I'm so sorry. You need to answer it again. You need to ask it again. I'm sorry. Anyone knows some good pfSense firewalling guide, like how to set up network firewalls, because I have a really complicated network like layout. A DMZ fully inside my private network. Well, a DMZ inside your private network isn't actually a complicated setup, to be honest. It's like, well, at some point maybe I'm doing like a pfSense tutorial, but nowhere near in the future, I'm sorry. And yeah, the problem with that is like firewall setups are very much depending on your personal requirements and your environment. So it's really hard to make tutorials that are valid for each and every use case. So that's probably the biggest issue you might have with this. Even when I would make a video, I would probably just come up with some general checklist or best practices or something like that. That might be helpful, but yeah. I see this is a question from Laurentius. Do you know about the Broadcom story with ESXi and stuff? I heard some, and now I have to look into Proxmox. Yeah, well, honestly, I haven't read much about the Broadcom story with ESXi. I just know that ESXi has been discontinued, and now a lot of people are looking for alternatives, which I will always reply. I haven't really used VMware ESXi much myself, but I know Proxmox pretty well, and Proxmox is being great, so why not move to Proxmox, yeah? I think you can even migrate your virtual machines, yeah? So, because Proxmox, I think they I don't know if they support VMware files, but there are converters around and so on. So I'm pretty sure you can get it somehow migrated to Proxmox without not much effort. I mean, yourself with another system, sure, but honestly, I think Proxmox is a great alternative. It's a great hypervisor in general, so why should you not move to it, right? When you are forced anyway, you don't have real choice. So that's a problem, yeah. Perfectly fine to agree on disagreeing sometimes. I drop those warp type terminals as they are not supporting my workflow, but for others they might fit perfectly. Yeah, Marco, that's absolutely the right way to look at it. So it's always like the problem I had, because most of the time I just give my opinions, but I also mostly just show you what I'm doing, and you feel free to decide for yourself if you're going to follow my recommendations or not. So I would be worried, or I really would understand the criticism more if I would say in a video something like, hey, you have to use this, or stop using this and this and that. So then we're completely on the same page, yeah? So then I would totally understand the criticism. But actually, to my point, I never say something like this. I never say in a video, hey, you have to use what I use, or this is bad and this is good. I usually don't do this. So that's really why I don't get a lot of this criticism, yeah? And I know many people are agreeing with me, right? I know it's like, the problem is if... The problem really is if you're just to focus on the where people just want to get the most attention because they are like have very strong opinions. They are gonna be much more critical in the comments. But I know for sure that the vast majority of people watching the videos are just gonna get, oh cool, this is interesting, I'm gonna like it, and they will never comment. So the people that have strong opinions against something, which is most likely negative, are going to comment a lot more often than people who are just enjoying the video. So I know this for sure. So that's why, yeah, DB, you say it right. Yeah, don't get distracted with all of the negative stuff. And absolutely, it's right. But there's for sure that there is a point, right? So when I get a lot of pushback and a lot of criticism, I usually don't ignore it. I read it very carefully and I try to understand, so where does this come from? Does it have a reasonable argumentation? Or is it just like people are just insane, or people are just mad about something they don't like? But I think I found some... or I admit, okay, there is a point to some arguments there, and I always try to reply to those comments, and I'm not starting a discussion and arguing back and forth. That's not my style. But I'm addressing, and I'm totally fine with accepting when I made mistakes or something like that, right? So I don't really have a problem with that. But yeah, you need to find out if criticism is just because people are mad, or if there is a reasonable a reasonable ask or a reasonable criticism behind it. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I hope you can understand what I mean, but yeah, if not, well. Lange Rede, what do you say? Lange Rede, kurzer Sinn, long story short. Oh yeah, I should have known that. I mean, I know it, but I couldn't remember. Thanks, man. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm really having trouble with the chat. And it's yes, it's so stupid, you guys. You guys know I just recently started to repurpose some of the YouTube videos on TikTok, and I thought it would be a good idea to simultaneously just go live on TikTok as well, but it's so stupid. Like, this is such a crappy platform, to be honest. Yeah, there's always like stupid people coming in the live chat and saying stupid things. So, and this is distracting me. Oh my gosh, this is really annoying. Okay, guys. So let's go. Go on with the comments. Whoa, you're pushing me to the limits, guys. So there are so many questions here. Can I just relax for a few minutes? Before I come back to your questions, it's just so much in the chat. I can't read all of it. I'm so sorry. But I will not forget. I'll keep in mind where I stopped and then I go on. Oh my god, I saw your live TikTok and then came here. Oh really? Oh cool, thanks man. This is amazing. Yeah, probably this is like, I don't really know. I think Christoph is blaming on me for getting on TikTok, I know, but I know if you are already in the game of content creation, you have to look left and right what's going on here. So that's the reason why I'm just trying it out. And maybe I'm also trying to get my wife to actually create some content. I'm always trying from time to time. She really doesn't want to go on camera and so on. But from time to time, I always try. So, hey, you're doing so great things. She's very creative. And I think, hey, why don't you just record it and put something on TikTok or something on Instagram, yeah? You're probably getting a lot of responses there. So why not just try it out? And she's always like, I don't know, and I'm ashamed of being uploading to social media and so on. And from time to time, I always try to, hey, look at what I've done with the YouTube channel, so try it out. And this is why I thought, well, let's look a bit left and right on other social media platforms and see what's going on there. Greetings from Germany. Hey, yeah, greetings from Germany as well. I was like sometimes the only one and then ask myself, where are the questions you're answering are from? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a problem. Well, I will. Okay, so let's take it a bit off topic. Yeah, I'm just gonna say my problems with TikTok. And TikTok is really a stupid platform for two reasons. Yeah, first, TikTok is just pushing regional content first. So regional trending content. So that means if you're creating, as a German guy, you're creating English content on TikTok, your content is only going to get pushed out in Germany and the other next 5 countries within nearby. So it's never going to get pushed out to the US, which is entirely stupid because most of my user base on YouTube is from the US. And Germany is probably second or third, right? And TikTok is so stupid, I don't really understand. Okay, so this guy is not creating German content. This guy is creating English content. So it takes a long time for their algorithms to pick this up and push it to other countries. That's the first problem I have with this. And the second problem is, like in a live stream on TikTok, you don't get access to the RM or the real media time, whatever protocol, right? The RMTP URL string, so that you can stream with OBS to TikTok. That's not possible. You need to use their applications. You need to use the phone or the TikTok Live Studio, which is only supported on Windows. And guess what? I don't have a Windows device where I can stream, so... this is so stupid. This is such a stupid platform. But anyway, well, I'm just going to explore it a bit and see how it goes. Honestly, it makes kind of addictive. It's very addictive. Doesn't feel weird that two guys from Germany are talking in English. Yeah, probably. Are you considering a video on Rundeck? I don't think I do. I don't think so. Well, I have so many other projects in the pipeline and I need to just get on with it. So yeah, Rundeck isn't one of them currently. Okay guys, so I'm trying to scroll up again. And by the way, nobody's watching the TikTok live anyway, so that's really just such a stupid platform. Anyway, okay, let's go on. I'm just gonna start again. So where did I left off? I promised you I kind of remember it, but I must confess I can't really remember anymore where I left off. Okay. Ah, it was there. Okay, all right. I have a Terraform KVM QEMU laptop. I want to set up a web server for suppose I have set up. Wow. Okay. Well, you already like. Do you know? But people writing stuff in the chat without any punctuation, like no comma, no dot, and you're really trying to follow their sentence. So Ahmed, can we take this offline on Discord or something like that? Because I really don't understand what you're trying to do. I'm so sorry. Maybe it's just my stupidity, but I really can't follow what you're saying. Does it sound mad? I'm sorry. It does. It's no offense, but I try to follow, but I just can't. Okay, so. Yeah, we were there. Lange Rede, kurzer Sinn, long story short. Exactly. The basic IT. Yep. Love your videos from red.andy. Thank you, man. Okay, have you tested OpenTofu as a replacement for Terraform? No, I haven't. And there's a simple reason for this. And guys, I know this is getting me into another difficult discussion with the free and open source fans, but why the heck should you replace Terraform? I have no idea why. Why are people want me to replace it? I mean, what's the point? In general, logs are the best if you show what happened. Yeah, I'm trying to get on with the questions. M19V. Oh, thanks by the way for joining the contributors. So I really appreciate that so many of you guys are trying to help with the GitHub repositories. Honestly, the problem I currently have, I need to just invest a bit more time into organizing the repos and writing something like a code of conduct or some best practice guides for contributors or something like that. It's coming. I just need a little more time to look into it. But I think we can do better. We can organize better. But I'm so happy. I'm so grateful that there are so many people helping me out with the GitHub repos. So especially Christoph, M19V. I know JW has also added a lot of comments. So thank you guys all so much. It's really great to see you on board with the project. And yeah, again, I'm going to say this. So feel free to just send me a DM in Discord if you have any questions or if you want to get in touch. So that's not an issue at all. So that's really great. But now to your point, to your question, right? What's your minimal home server setup recommendation for beginner or proof of concept of text mini computer Proxmox? Well, I don't really have a recommendation on this because I believe this is very much depending on your budget and your preference, what you're aiming to achieve. I would always say like something with virtualization, so getting like a mini computer with Proxmox. That's not gonna be a bad idea. I mean, because most of the things you will try out in a home lab, they will require some form of virtual machine, right? Or some virtual testing setup, maybe even snapshots and so on. So you're really fine with Proxmox then. Proxmox is a great operating system for that. So I would always put Proxmox on a small computer, even if it's just a mini PC, that's totally fine. So you can get some really great deals on eBay for mini computers, or maybe your old gaming PC that you don't need anymore. There are a lot of options you have, right? And it's really depending on your budget. If you're willing to invest a few hundred euros, then just go and buy like a desktop computer, install Proxmox on it, you're gonna be fine. So it's really And of course, the beauty in HomeLab is there are no limits, right? You can start small and then expand your HomeLab to whatever you want. Yeah, you can get really crazy with it, and then buy a secondary server or a third one, form a cluster. You can do all those things later if you want, right? And with Proxmox, you really have a good foundation. You can always expand to a 2-node or 3-node cluster with Proxmox. By the way, I'm currently working on some video guides for this, so I want to build myself a Proxmox cluster. So I'm currently trying to learn how to do it and what's the best approach and finding this out. So there will be some content about this in the future. Also some general recommendation video how to start a HomeLab. I think that would be a great idea. So these are 2 videos that I want to make in the next like 1 or 2 months. So I'm really, I just need some more time to research and plan out the video content and so on. But I'm definitely getting into there sooner than later. So that's what I'm saying. So there will be some content around this because I think this will help many people to get into home labbing and build something really amazing, which is ultimately my goal, right? To get more people into this wonderful hobby we share. So that would be amazing. Do you have any advice on managing vulnerabilities in container that you do not own? Vulnerabilities in Argo CD installation that you need to fix and are not fixed by them yet? Well, Red.Andy, this is a pretty difficult topic as you cannot really force anybody to fix a vulnerability in a container image you don't own yourself. I mean, you can only just build the image yourself and fix some of those issues. So it means like building custom Docker images, which is what probably would be the recommended step to do. But again, I know this is not so straightforward, so it's gonna be a lot more difficult to do that, especially for small HomeLab people. So that would be like in an organization, like a recommended approach. But well, you also have to think about a lot of these security vulnerabilities that you see in those reporting tools. Like if you run a vulnerability scanner against a Docker image, and it will show up a bunch of those vulnerabilities, right? That doesn't really mean that those vulnerabilities are having an impact on your solution, right? There are a lot of like outdated libraries that are not exposed to any application anyway. So it's not like just because you're seeing a lot of high and critical vulnerabilities in a Docker image that this is necessarily going to be a problem to you. So and this requires a lot of research and a lot of good understanding of those vulnerabilities and trying to find out whether it's going to have an impact on you or not. So it's not an easy topic, right? And it depends from case to case. So all I can say is, if you really want to deal with that, if you want to go down that road, it's going to be a lot of work and it's going to be complicated. The best you can do is just raise an issue to the developer and ask them to fix a security vulnerability or ask them for advice. That's going to be helpful. But again, you're basically doing their job, right? Which is, I don't know. So that's definitely going to be a lot more complicated. I just say like, just because you're seeing a vulnerability doesn't really mean it's going to have an impact on you. So, yeah. But yeah, so I don't really know what I would do myself. So I stopped evaluating all these security vulnerabilities in my containers because then this would be like a full-time job, right? So I'm just gonna the best way to protect your environment is to lock it down as good as you can, right? So not expose anything to the public internet, don't do any stupid things. And yeah, try to update as often as possible. These are things that I personally do to protect my environments, but I don't really look at all of the vulnerabilities in my containers because that would, I mean, yeah, that would make me get crazy or mad, right? Okay, guys, so I'm keeping up with the questions actually. Shadow Prism. Yeah, actually, well, the good thing about K3S is if you're following my tutorial, you actually don't need to sort out the load balancing. because my tutorial includes traffic in the setup as well. So you don't need to care about it actually. So it should be pretty straightforward and pretty easy. Embedded etcd may have performance issues on slower disks, such as Raspberry Pis running with SD cards. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the reason why I said I probably would not run etcd on a Raspberry Pi. So probably I would use like an external MySQL database to manage the control plane. That's what I would do. I was referring to the DNS component of Active Directory only. Ah, okay, all right. Okay, got it, Tony. So then I think it's pretty straightforward, because bind is a DNS server that basically does everything you need for DNS. So I never had any case where bind could not solve one of the use cases that I was having with DNS. So it's really great. At least for me personally. I know not everyone likes bind, but I do like it. For me, it works pretty well. Okay. Christian, you have a video in your channel about Watchtower. Very good. I have some containers. Watchtower container. Yeah, Watchtower is nice. The only problem I have with Watchtower is that I don't use the latest tag in Docker containers anymore. So that's going to be the problem I'm running into. So I need to find out another way of updating my containers. Currently, I do it manually, which is not the best way to do it, but yeah. I'll have a look into this. I know I need some other components people were recommending in the chat before, like Renovate, for example. I need to look at this, and I just didn't have the time to do it. But it's on my list. It's definitely on my list. You know what is funny? When you're on TikTok Live, people are always requesting to come into the live stream. So it's like, no, guys, I'm not accepting those requests, guys. Oh my god. What open source web application firewall would you recommend for infrastructure running on Ubuntu? I've been running mod security on Apache, but it's recently began misbehaving. Whoa, honestly, I mean, if you want to get into that, you can try out Sophos XG as a web application firewall if you want. I mean, it has a free community, not a community, a home edition. So you can use the, but it's not open source, right? So, I mean, honestly, then I only know mod security. I don't know any other application that does similar things that is open source. No idea, man. So in the open source space, a web application firewall can be difficult because it's usually an enterprise type of product. I mean, you could use Traffic, but Traffic is not really a web application firewall. I know they have some scanning tests in there, but it's not really near mod security's capabilities. So I really don't know. So maybe someone in the chat has a recommendation for Kelvin about an open source WAF, but I personally, other than mod security, I don't have. And I personally never set up mod security myself. I have to admit. So I'm using Sophos XG whenever I would do something like that. But honestly, I don't have a web application firewall in my HomeLab because I usually don't get web requests from unauthorized people. So that's what you really need a WAF for. But I don't have this in my HomeLab. And I think like most of the people in the HomeLab also don't have this, because when you want to give somebody access to your HomeLab, it's going to be like authenticated users. You could easily authenticate them with a remote access tool or something like that. And it's not really like external unknown clients that would try to go into and try to breach into the HomeLab. That's not a regular use case, I believe. Well, what you could also do, but this is again not open source, is using... let's go. So what the hell is now going on? Okay, so there's a strange notification here in the chat. Ah, all right, it's... I'm so sorry. Thanks, Harry, for your support. 10 euros. Thank you, man, so much. I was just about, so what the hell is this yellow message in the YouTube live stream? That's like somebody's donating money. Thank you, man. Thanks for all the work you're sharing on YouTube. You really motivated me to build my own home lab. Excited to see future videos on HomeLab hardware. Take care. Tschüss. Thank you, Harry, so much for your support. That is amazing. I was just asking, what the hell is this yellow message? So what's going wrong? And it's really like a yellow message. I thought it would be a warning or something like that. Really. I personally don't use Cloudflare tunnels myself. But it's definitely a good solution you could use. Okay, well, let's take a look. There are so many questions in the chat, guys. There's so many questions. I think I need to stay online for a couple more minutes. Hey Christian, have you ever tried the ARR stack? No, I don't know what you're talking about, Samuel, so I'm sorry. Let's make chat AI bot. What? Okay. There's some weird messages sometimes in the chat. And I know I shouldn't react to them, I know. I'm so sorry. That's not very professional. Doesn't it feel weird that two guys from Germany are talking in English? Well, apparently it does not. I mean, I often chat with people in our community, and we often do it in English because then everybody in the community can understand it. It's like the problem you have, of course, I could easily just respond to any Germans in German, yeah. But the problem I have with this is, like, if I would do that, it would be disappointing for anyone who does not understand German. So that's why I think it is not weird that German guys are talking English when it's for other audiences as well. So that's like, I mean, so to me it's totally understandable. Because if I would listen to a live stream and that would be from, I don't know, so some French creator talking English, and then he's talking in French to somebody else, I would say like, what's going on? I probably would just leave the live stream. So that's why I rarely say something in German here, even though sometimes I get questions in German, but I always try to respond in English, because then everybody has benefit here in the chat and we all can understand. So that's why, no, it's not really weird. It's totally, it's just friendly, right? That's what I think about it. And yeah, maybe I'm just going to ignore some of the other chat here. I'm so sorry. Should be a nerd-focused social media platform. TikTok seems for kids. Instagram pushes Insta-models. Yeah, really, I mean, honestly, Barry, I think YouTube is probably the best platform for us tech nerds, right? But I still think, like, when I was creating some content on TikTok, I was really surprised that there are people watching TikTok content about tech stuff. So there is an audience on all of these platforms. It's probably just not the vast majority of it. And it's up to the platform to find the right audience for the right creator. And on some platforms it works great, like on YouTube, it's the best platform. On some others it does not work great. But there is always, I believe, like, there's always an audience for something, and you probably can even create tech content on Instagram, but it's just like, yeah, I don't know. So I always try to create, like, the content where I feel people are having the most benefit from. And those short form content platforms are gonna get, like, a lot more difficult. But what I say, and I know this is not going to be a social media live stream, but I'm gonna say this about TikTok. Just wait a couple of more years. Just wait like 2 or 3 years. I'm pretty confident that TikTok will get more serious in the next years. I'm pretty sure this will happen. But yeah, mark my words. And let's talk about it in 3 years again. But I'm pretty sure TikTok is gonna challenge YouTube, and it's gonna get more serious than it is right now. And of course, I want to be one of the early adopters when this happens, right? So that's the reason. Hosting mail co from home. Our DNS is the only error I get mismatch. Am I screwed? Well, I don't know, man. The problem is when you're hosting a mail server from home, you need to have a PTR. If you don't have this, such like RDNS, right? It's the other name for it. If you don't have that, you're right, you're screwed. But you probably should just contact your ISP provider. So most ISP providers allow you to set an RDNS or PTR record. Even some of the private ones do. So not just company ISP providers do that. Just reach out to them, ask them. Sometimes they support you and you're able to run a mail server from home, but you definitely need a static IP address and the ability to add a PTR to your IP address. If that's not the case, well, good luck with running a mail server. It's gonna be hard. Fabrice, hey Christian, thanks for the videos. I'm new to the channel. Welcome. What skills that apply to the professional field will we learn from home labbing? That's a great question, man. I would say this. I mean, probably everything that you're learning in a home lab is somewhat applicable in the professional field. Of course, there are exceptions to this. So installing Arch Linux will not get you a good job in IT, at least not alone. So there are definitely some areas where you should focus on more. But I'm always saying like, well, Linux server, virtualization, networking, containerization, those kind of skills, they are really valuable. So, and you learn all of this in a home lab, like with hands-on experience. I mean, can you guys, and that's actually a question for you guys. I just recently made up my mind. So, do you know any other job that is like the IT field where you can get the hands-on experience that you require in a professional field, in your job, and you get them for free by just following your hobby? Do you know any other job that is like that? I have no idea. So I really think like we in IT, as IT and tech guys, we have a really amazing opportunity here. And we can practice all of this stuff here at home. Well, you could be a chef. You even get to eat this stuff. Yeah, that's it. For free, ask my Power Bill. Yeah, but come on, Christoph. I mean, if you just have a home lab with a mini PC, how is that going to explode your Power Bill? It's not really. I mean, I'm not asking you to run a ton of rack servers at home, right? So you can still do this at home. Musician? Yeah, okay, well, that's also, yeah, that's right. But also musician, I mean, in terms of if you're playing an instrument, yeah? Okay, if you're playing an instrument, I would agree to this. But if you are into music production, it's gonna get more difficult because this equipment is usually very expensive. So there are some limitations to this, you see, like, but yeah, musician is also a good idea. It's really interesting, yeah. But I still think like IT it's in a very good position, right? I mean, yeah, playing an instrument probably would be one of those opportunities as well. I agree to that. Any opinions on the new Zima Cube? Yes, I've made a video about the Zima Cube. Go watch it. It's gonna have my opinions in there. You're learning if you use your home lab as a lab and not just following videos like click here, click there. Yes, that's right. But I personally see my home lab like this. It's not like someone commented on one of the Warp Terminal videos something like, "Hey Christian, you were always about free and open source." And I said like, well, that's actually not really correct. I mean, I like free and open source, but that was never the reason why I started a home lab, right? I never started a home lab just to host everything myself. That was never the reason. My home lab is always a playground to learn about technology and getting better in IT. That was the purpose for my home lab. And I never said something different. That's like, and I know that's kind of part of the problem, I think. Like, many people are watching those tutorials and those videos because they want to ditch big tech companies. They don't want to host their stuff on Microsoft 365. They don't trust Windows and so on. So they want to start a home lab and host everything themselves, like setting up Nextcloud, hosting their own password managers and so on. And it's totally fine. I mean, that's what these tutorials are for. But it is a very different mindset than running a home lab because you want to learn something, right? And of course, those two ideas can match, right? Those two mindsets. I mean, you could be interested in self-hosting plus you want to learn something. That's absolutely possible. But it doesn't necessarily mean just because you're running a home lab that you want to self-host everything. That is actually something that the idea I had in mind. And I realized this once I was going through some of the comments of the Warp video. So people that follow the channel, so there is a pretty big portion of the people watching the videos and watching the channel because they want to self-host everything. They don't want to learn IT. They don't want to learn professional tech. They just want to self-host, right? And this made me thinking about, okay, so how can I make content for both of these groups successfully and not just make somebody mad, right? That's actually like the thought process I just got up in my mind today, right? So that's really. But that is basically, Christoph, we had this discussion on Discord as well, often. Like, I know, sometimes you're a bit complaining about some of the... How can I put this friendly? How can I frame it friendly, in a friendly way? Let's put it this way, yeah? Sometimes we on Discord are a bit disappointed by the beginner level questions, right? That's how you can say this. But I would definitely say, like, okay, so everybody starts somewhere. That's totally understandable. But it is like, if somebody doesn't show the willing to learn, then you're probably at the wrong channel. That's what I'm going to say. So, you have to have some passion and you have to have some engagement to learn something. If not, well, I'm not the YouTuber who likes to make videos in terms of, hey, if you want to ditch Microsoft 365 and just host your Nextcloud instance, you click this button, you click this button, you click this button. Hey, you're now protected. This is not the style of videos that I want to create. So my goal is always to be more educational in terms of, okay, so if you want to host Nextcloud, yeah, this is how you set it up, but I also address topics like reverse proxy or backup or virtualization, those kind of professional technical things. Yeah, that's... I don't know where I started with this talk, but it's... to me, it's just logical that it is a completely different angle. And I believe sometimes people just want to know the shortcut to the answer, right? So they don't want to learn about storage. They don't want to learn about Docker. They just want to quit using Microsoft 365 and just want to store their data on Nextcloud, right? That's their ask. And I think this is sometimes where some of those complaints or where some of those questions sometimes come from. Yeah. Exactly, yeah. It's like taking shortcuts, yeah? And just getting the result without investing the effort. And that's something, well, then you're probably not at the right place. I have to say this, and if it's going to make somebody upset, I'm sorry for it, but that's it. I mean, we are all about learning. We're all about understanding technology. We're not just about like, hey, we're upset about Windows, so we switch to Linux. That's not... I don't know what's going on. If you're seeing like... Live stream was lagging for some reason. I don't know if it was lagging for you too. So again, like if we transfer this approach to operating systems, I would say like, well, if you're just upset about Windows and you hate Microsoft and that's why you want to use Linux, that's not really where my thought process is, right? So I think like, well, that's not how I want to see it. So I want to use Linux because I'm interested in the technology. I want to know how this operating system works. I'm interested in learning new things. I'm not using Linux because I'm upset about Windows. And that's maybe sometimes, yeah, where some people they come up with the wrong expectations sometimes. I think that is that might be the problem in some cases. I know that's not for the vast majority. I know the vast majority want to learn, they want to improve, they're excited about HomeLab, but there are occasions where people just want to have a shortcut to a solution and they don't want to learn the technology in the first place, which is, I think, yeah, not really. That's not the right place here. That's what I'm saying. You can accumulate both reasons too. Yes, that's right. And I don't have a problem with it. I don't have a problem if people are upset about Windows or they are upset about big tech and they want to self-host everything. If they still want to learn, that's okay for me, right? So that's the thing I'm saying, right? But if you're just you just want to get the result, but you don't want to learn how it's working, well, that's not really the spirit, so to speak. Worth considering that Microsoft is one of the largest open source contributors these days. Yeah, sure. I mean, yeah, totally. I truly appreciate the learning approach. There are other channels, I believe, that gear towards self-host everything. This has been your strength throughout. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's making me happy that you guys share the same opinion. Because otherwise I would be worried. I really would be worried if everyone in the chat was saying, I don't want to learn, I just want to self-host. Well, I would be very upset about it, to be honest. Is WSL sufficient to learn Linux? Well, that's a good question. I think it's enough for the basics. But you just have to understand, if you see it this way, if you use Linux just in WSL or WSL2, this is just a portion of the whole story, right? It's just like if you're watching a movie and you're just watching the first 20-30 minutes of the movie and then just leave the cinema. So I really would say, if you really want to learn Linux, you probably should stay in the cinema and watch the entire movie, which means like install Linux in a virtual machine, install Linux like on bare metal, on an old laptop, something like that. Try out a Linux distribution. That's really what I would say, right? But WSL, it's not really like the whole picture. So it's a good start. But yeah, you definitely want to go beyond that at some point. Not at the beginning, but if you're comfortable with that, you can make the next step. Hey Christian, great videos. As someone currently transitioning into IT, setting up a home lab was probably the best thing I could have done to expand my skills. Thank you so much. It's making me so happy you're saying something like that. That's really amazing. Okay, so well, I'm sorry if I skipped some of the questions. I'm just trying to get something that I probably have missed. If I missed something, you need to put it in the chat right now, because otherwise I probably forgot. But hey, I'm a bit over time anyway, so what do you think, guys? So what should we do next week? What should we discuss next week? I'm thinking about that. I think we need to meet again and talk about the GitHub repositories at some point. I don't know if we can do it next week, or if we should take it off-site of the live stream. I think it probably shouldn't be part of the live stream anyway, but that's a good question. I really don't have an idea right now, because next video, yeah, maybe that's, I probably should say this. Next video, there's not going to be a video. Did I say next video, or did I say next week? Next week, there's not going to be a new video released. So I need some more time to evaluate some more complicated topics in my home lab. So I will, next video, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm so stupid. Yeah, my brain is damaged right now. So I'm going to say next week is not going to be a new video. So the week after, I'm going to release that video. And I don't know if I will skip the live stream next week as well. Maybe. So let's do a live stream in 2 weeks again, not next week, because I just need some more time to get some stuff in my brain sorted out. And database content, please. Yeah, I would love to do it, but honestly, I'm such a noob when it comes to databases. So I can install a database, I can start up a user, but that's it, man. I mean, I can do some queries, but that's it. So I have no idea how to back up, migrate. So I need to look into this. So that's requiring more time, obviously. Host your own messenger. Oh no, not again, not again. Try not to replicate everything. Yeah, I'm really thinking about it. Let's do a live stream in 2 weeks then. And then we'll probably discuss some of the topics from the video that I released before. So that's gonna be cool. Yeah, let's do that. I think that will be a nice topic. Do we have a centralized database system in place to manage all your Docker containers? Yes, so I run Postgres, MySQL, and I also run InfluxDB. And I connect all containers that require a database connection, I connect to these central databases. That's how I do it. Because I don't think it makes sense to spawn up a new database instance for each and every container. That just feels like a stupid idea. So why the hell would you then need a database server? So yeah, I have like central databases in the home lab and all the Docker containers connect to them. Yeah, as I said, I'm not very skilled when it comes to databases, so hope they keep running and they don't have a problem. I mean, I could try to restore them from a backup, but if there is like a configuration problem, well, I'm screwed. So I need to invest some more time looking into this topic, obviously, right? Topic suggestion for the next video: how do you manage your time to share your knowledge? Yeah, well, I've made one video about learning IT. So maybe that's gonna be like a video that's interesting for you, man. Because it's somewhat in the same space, so to speak. So how to optimize time, how I manage my time and so on. Okay, guys, I'm going to end the live stream right now, but it was a fun discussion, so thank you everybody for watching. And yeah, well, IDM is a topic that I'm looking at right currently. It's not gonna be Citadel, but it's gonna be a similar software. So you're gonna see something in that pretty soon. Okay, guys. So thanks so much for watching. So remember, next week is not gonna be a video. It's not gonna be a live stream. But the week after, I'm back again with some action. And I promise I'll prepare a topic for the next live streaming in 2 weeks. I promise. Okay, guys, so thanks everybody for watching. Thanks for all the great questions, and thanks for all the support. It's amazing. And yeah, for everyone who is upset about I didn't answer the question, let's have a chat on Discord. Come to the Discord. You can always ask questions there. And yeah, thanks for watching. Have a nice day. Catch up with you soon. Thanks everybody. Bye bye.